I'm almost 60, and the other day, my physiotherapist told me something that has very little to do with my body and everything to do with your marketing. So I was at my physio appointment, and my physiotherapist told me I don't need to come back as long as I keep doing the exercises she gave me. She said, "I'm not going to lie to you. Age is a factor at this point, but as long as you keep doing your exercises regularly, you'll be fine." And when she said that, it suddenly dawned on me that marketing for experts is exactly the same thing. Consistency beats volume every day of the week. Let me tell you a story about how I learned it the hard way. Welcome to Courage to be Visible, the podcast for heart centered entrepreneurs who are done hiding in the shadows and ready to step into the spotlight. I'm your host, Andrea Stenberg. I'm a video marketing strategist and a big believer that showing up as your true self is your marketing superpower. So, one of the downsides of getting older that people don't warn you about is that consistency starts to matter way more than volume. Now, I remember back in my 20s when I was in university, I could sit on my butt for 4 months, like an entire semester, where my only exercise was lifting a beer to my mouth. And then at the end of the semester, I could get up and run 5K. Now, don't let me mislead you. I was never fast at running 5K. I was always slow as molasses in January. But the thing was, I could be inactive for 4 months and get up and complete 5K because at 20, my body would let me. However, now that I'm almost 60, that's not going to happen. First of all, I'm probably never going to run a 5K again. In fact, when my intake form at physiotherapy, they asked about how well I'm running, and I'm like, running? What's this mysterious thing called running? I can't remember the last time I ran. So I'm not going to be running a 5K anytime soon. But I've also learned that I can't sit around for an extended period of time and expect my body to just do what I want it to do like that. Not going to happen. And let me tell you about where I learned that. So back in 2020, remember way back when the first lockdown happened and it was all really scary, I freaked out. And what I did is I grabbed my laptop, crawled into bed, pulled the covers up to my chin, and whimpering about, oh my God, we're all going to die. And then I spent a month. Literally, I hardly ever got out of bed. I did work. I was on my computer, but I was on my computer in bed. And at the end of the month, when I finally came to my senses and I thought, okay, we're not all going to die, and started getting back to normal life, my body, after just 4 weeks of inactivity, was like, no, 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 we're not doing this. And it took me a full year of going to the chiropractor, going to the massage therapist, and going to physiotherapy to get my body back to where it was before the first lockdown. Because 1 month of inconsistency, and it took me a full year to recover. So if you're listening to this and saying, Andrea, why the heck are we talking about your physiotherapy in this Courage to be Visible marketing podcast? And it's because just physiotherapy, physical activity when you're almost 60, with your marketing, consistency matters way more than volume. So just tell me if this sounds like something you've done. I see people doing this over and over again. So say you've got, okay, I've got this idea for a new course, and it's going to be the best course I've ever done. So you put your nose to the grindstone and you write the outline, you start drafting what each of the lessons are going to be. You record the videos for each lesson. You write the workbooks and produce them, make them look beautiful. You write each of the lesson plans, the pages for your course portal. Then you write the sales page, all the marketing materials. You've done all this writing, And now you're like, okay, now I'm going to start marketing my business. And you post it on LinkedIn, you do some posts on Instagram or Facebook, maybe even do some live videos. You send emails to your list. And what happens? Crickets, nothing. You might get one or two purchases, but for the most part, people aren't engaging. And it's not because your course is a bad idea. It's not because your sales page is terrible. It's not because nobody wants this content. It's because in that period of time, while you were heads down building your course and you forgot about your marketing, your audience forgot who you are. The algorithm forgot who you are. And so nobody is seeing this amazing new course that you've just created that's probably going to change lives because nobody knows that you're there. It's basically you went silent, just like a muscle that's been sitting in bed with the covers pulled up to your chin for a month, and then now suddenly you want it to run 5K. Your marketing can't do it either. So whatever you've got planned, whatever great ideas you have for your business, I want to propose something for you. However much you're going to spend your time developing these new products and services or courses, I want you to focus on consistency in your marketing and commit to one long form video a month. Now, it could be a blog post. I'm Andrea. I love video. I think experts should be doing video, but if you really don't want to, a blog post is okay. But so one piece of long form content. So that means it's not like an Instagram story or a 15-second reel. This is something juicy, meaty, with some content and some of you in it. So if you're going to do a long form piece of video, 5 to 10 minutes minimum. You don't need to do an hour, but I would say 5 to 10 minutes. Really dive into some of your knowledge and expertise and share some of your personality. Now, this is not meant to be, this isn't a sales pitch. This is the grabbing people's attention, letting people get a taste for who you are. And at the end, you might have a call to action, but this is really about the marketing, building your visibility, and building consistency. And part of the consistency isn't just, one video every month. It's also being consistent in your messaging. So for example, if you're a weight loss coach, you want to be talking about weight loss and health related issues. You don't want to be also talking about roofing or dog walking or things like that. You want to be being consistent on message, not just frequency of content. Now, I know you might be listening to me and saying, Andrea, one video a month doesn't sound like a lot. And it's not. But if you're consistent and you do one video a month, at the end of 12 months, you've got 12 long form videos that are sharing your message, sharing your expertise, sharing your personality. And I'll bet, even though everybody knows video is important, I'll bet the vast majority of your competitors haven't done 12 videos in 12 months. They may have only done one, they may have done none. So you're already ahead of the game by doing one video a month. But here's the secret. You don't stop there with one video a month. Once you've got your one video or blog post, if you didn't listen to Andrea and you said, no, I'm not going to do video, and you take that video and repurpose it into a bunch of other pieces of content. So for example, if you've got say a 10-minute video, I bet you can find 3 or 4 Instagram reels or YouTube shorts out of that video, something that you said that could really grab people's attention and get views on Instagram or YouTube shorts. So that's one thing you can do. You can also grab your transcript from your video and turn it into a couple of emails that you send to your email list, at least one of it, which is hopefully sending people to the video you just created. You can also take that transcript and pull out some quotes where there's something you said that was really insightful or really interesting or might grab people's attention, and turn those into Instagram posts or Facebook posts or LinkedIn posts. You can also take that transcript and turn it into a carousel. So you're sharing the same content, but instead of video format, it's in a carousel format, which can go on Instagram and LinkedIn. So it's one piece of content that you plan and record once, and you might have 6, 8, 10, even 12 other pieces of content that are around the same topic that you can share on all your social media platforms throughout the month. Now, if you're listening to me today, you're probably like me. You're not Gary Vee with a whole team of staff who can be constantly churning out content and posting 15, 20 times a day. You're wearing all the hats in your business. You're the chief marketing officer, you're client facing, you're doing customer service, you're actually delivering for your clients, you're doing your social media, you're fixing your website when it doesn't work, you're doing all the hats. So you don't have time to be creating tons and tons of brand new original content every time. But you're building consistency in frequency and content so that when people come to your Instagram profile or your LinkedIn profile or wherever you're posting on social media, you've got a consistent message. Because there's nothing worse than, say, somebody comes to your Instagram profile and you're talking about weight loss on Monday, Tuesday you're talking about roofing, Wednesday you're talking about relationships, Thursday you're talking about SEO, and people come to your profile and they don't know what to expect. They have no idea what you do, and they have no idea if they want to follow you because it's all confusing. But if you start with one video a month and then repurpose that content around, suddenly somebody comes to you for the first time and they start seeing a consistent message and they start going, oh, I get what she's about. I know what she's talking about. And so it's not just about consistency of how often you post, it's consistency of your message. And so really that's the plan I want for you. If you want the courage to be visible, is you don't have to be crazy busy. One long form piece of content a month and then repurpose it. Now, like a lot of people, I know just because you know what you're supposed to do, actually doing it is often something else. For example, I love covered bridge salt and vinegar potato chips. And I know I shouldn't eat a whole bag of them. But if there's a bag in my house, I'm going to open it and I'm not going to pour it a little bit in a bag and then put it away. I'm going to eat the whole thing. And I know it's bad for me, but if it's in the house, I'm going to eat it because I don't have the willpower to say no. And for a lot of solopreneurs, coaches, course creators, healers, experts of any kind who are wearing all the hats in their business, marketing is like the opposite of the salt and vinegar potato chips. If they're in the house, I'm going to eat them. But for a lot of solopreneurs, marketing is like, yeah, I know I should do it, but it's not as fun as working with clients, or it's not as easy to do as cleaning my desk, or all kinds of other excuses we make to not do the marketing and not be productive. Marketing gets pushed to the back burner because it's not always fun and it's your business. So there's nobody checking up on you to ask you if you've done it. If you find an excuse not to do it or avoid it or find something else to do, you're not going to do it. And I'm a marketing professional. I've even done that for my business. You find, for whatever reason, you get in your head and you decide not to publish that video, or you don't send that email, or whatever it is. So that's why I built something called the Authority Building Collective. It's a membership for entrepreneurs, and there's a little bit of training, but there's a lot of built-in consistency, built-in accountability, because you've got a date in your calendar to show up and actually work on your marketing. So the people who are in the Authority Building Collective, it's not that they're suddenly more disciplined than you. It's that they've got this appointment in the calendar and they show up and actually get the work done. So I've seen people go from hardly ever posting on social media to consistently posting twice a week. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're going from 0 to twice a week, that's a big leap in your visibility and your consistency, especially if the message is as consistent as the frequency. So anyway, if you have been sitting on your marketing butt for a few months and not being consistent, this is your sign. You don't need more volume. You need to get back to being consistent. I've got the link for the Authority Building Collective in the show notes. Come and check it out if you're looking for a little bit of consistency in your business. Thanks for listening to Courage to be Visible. I hope today's conversation sparked ideas for your own visibility. If it helped, please share this episode with a friend. Follow the show and leave a quick rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps. For links, show notes, and free resources to grow your visibility, head over to the show notes or visit my website. See you next time.